Right, it's incredibly hot in here, so I'm going to get this done as fast as possible, and yes, I am wearing a silk dressing gown because I am that cool. What's the first thing you think of when I say Easter egg? If it's chocolate, then I don't blame you, but you've clearly come to the wrong video. As you know, my channel is pretty primarily focused on Easter eggs, mainly in video games, with a few movies thrown in there for good measure. The actual term Easter egg has come to mean inside jokes, hidden messages or content concealed within the media that we consume. So that could be video games, movies, TV, and in one really awesome case, the team behind the Apple Macintosh in 1986 hid pictures of themselves within the code for the computer. But if we really want to understand what an Easter egg is, we'll have to first head back about 43 years to look at the, frankly, bizarre Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I'm just a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania.
Besides bringing whatever the hell that was into the world, the Rocky Horror Picture Show is also responsible for coining the term Easter egg. The story goes that during filming, the cast literally had an Easter egg hunt on set, and in the final version of the film, 3 of these Easter eggs can still be seen, creating what was essentially the first ever Easter egg hunt in modern media. Now that is supposedly the origin of the term Easter egg, but if we head back even further, we can find what is perhaps one of the first ever examples of an Easter egg courtesy of the legendary director Alfred Hitchcock. In 1927, Hitchcock released a film called The Lodger. In doing so, he introduced the world to what is potentially the first Easter egg 48 years before the term would even be coined. Now, what Hitchcock did was actually fairly simple. Within The Lodger, he appears as himself in cameo form, twice in fact. He can clearly be seen in the foreground with his back to the camera, but without prior knowing this when you were going into the film, you would never have known that that right there was the legendary director himself. After this, Hitchcock went to cameo in 39 out of 52 of his major movies. I think a particular favourite of mine is his appearance as just a random guy in a hat from Psycho. So while I could now go on to talk about death predicting X's in Scarface, or Starbucks coffee cups in Fight Club, I think what you're actually here for is video games. So I present to you Adventure. Now, what many people consider to be the first actual Easter egg came courtesy of Atari in 1979. In a move akin to Edna Mode's hatred of capes in The Incredibles,
No capes!
Atari made the executive decision to remove all of their developers' names from all and future games that they release. Now, as you can imagine, this really didn't go down well with the developers, with many of them outright leaving the company. Warren Robinett wasn't a developer that would be beaten so easily though. Inspired by supposedly hidden messages within the Beatles' songs, he hid his own hidden message within Adventure, which is very complicated to find. So complicated I'm not even going to bother going into it right now, but you can look that up for yourself. The message was simple yet brilliant, created by Warren Robinett. The perfect fuck you to Atari. The Easter egg went undiscovered for over a year until a 15-year-old boy by the name of Adam Clayton found the Easter egg. Now, by this point, Atari were unable to remove the Easter egg. Instead, they doubled down and called it a feature, and that players should look out for Easter eggs in many of their future games. After this, the Easter egg as we know it today was pretty much born. Easter eggs started appearing in more and more media, like Hollywood blockbusters like the Sherman and Peabody reference in Back to the Future, and even some real-world Easter eggs like the hidden Mickeys hidden around the Disney World parks. 1981 saw R2-D2 and C-3PO appearing in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and 1982 saw Pac-Man appearing in Disney's Tron, which was a huge moment for video games coming into the live stream media attention. Easter eggs today live on with that exact same spirit, only there's just a hell of a lot more of them. Game developers like Ubisoft absolutely love to cram their games full of them, and if you've been watching any of my channel, you'll know just how many Easter eggs they can put into a single game. whereas other games, they can have Easter eggs, but they're a little less obvious. There are entire internet communities dedicated purely to the pursuit of Easter eggs, and even YouTube channels that are entirely dedicated to just documenting them. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but if you know one in the comments section, let me know. When you look back on it, like we just have, it's really interesting and kind of fascinating to see how something so small and obscure that 99% of people would never even see or know about could become such a cultural icon that it has today. My god, it is incredibly hot in here. I wasn't joking, like we've had some crazy summer here in the UK and it's actually raining for like the first time in a month. I'm so happy about that. It's so helping so much. Anyway, this is kind of a new series that I'm going on. It's actually an old series and you might recognize this video if you've been on the channel a long time ago. I made it a very long time ago. This is kind of an updated version. It used to be called Game Logic. I think that's kind of the thing I'm going for still. I'm not going to bother literally naming it Game Logic, but if you want a series name, that's what we'll call it. We're going to just talk about random stuff. Today was Easter eggs because I think it's a very relevant topic, but I can also do other things like, I think I'm doing a Just Cause free video, which is going to focus on weather in video games. Going to talk about Fortnite, how that came from, well, what was Save the World and now is just Battle Royale, basically. We've got some interesting topics coming up, so hopefully you enjoyed that. I don't know if you can hear that. That is thunder. I love thunder.
His name is Luke and he's more than your average gamer. No ordinary let's player. Know about Easter eggs much better. Da 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 da. His name is Luke, aka TheRoyalGorilla. Even bigger than the giant Godzilla. Follow him in every game he goes. Da da da.